Welcome to Krizcast, nomad life. Welcome to Krizcast, nomad life.
Welcome back to another episode of Krizcast Nomad Life, where we talk about the life in Spain. And today we're going to touch base on some of the living expenses that you have in Spain, because when you move to a new country, you always want to know how much am I going to shell out from my pocket? Because there is a saying that goes, what is measured can be managed. That means that you know how much money you're spending on something, you can come to a mindset, okay, this is how much I'm going to spend because you're moving to a new country as an expat. Of course, you come with a job or you're moving with your business. You need to know what you're doing with your money. You need to know how much am I spending every month. So let's take a quick dive in and see how it is. Let's dive in detail and understand the life living cost in Spain. And I've made a beautiful presentation. I worked on Canva to make this presentation online. So I hope you like it. Let's see. All right, starting with the location. Why location matters? You know, Spain is a country where tourism the, is the main backbone of the economy. And so almost a lot of cities in Spain is touristic because of its economy is completely driven by the tourism. And if you live in a city, the living cost is totally different than that you live in a village. And there's also different sides of it because who lives in a village coming from a different country trying to find jobs, you might usually find jobs in metropolitan cities like Madrid or Barcelona or Seville or up north Galicia or Bilbao or these are the countries that I've seen. I mean, these are the cities that I've seen and these cities, I know the expenses because I've traveled there, I've lived there, I know the living cost by hand because I've shelled out the money and I know how it is to live in these places. But if you compare this with the villages, I've also traveled to villages. There are a lot of little tiny villages around Madrid, around Barcelona, or around Sevilla. The main cost, the main difference is the only difference is the rent. Let's say you're paying 1,000 euros in Madrid, you will pay like 500 euros in a village. That's the only difference. Otherwise, the groceries are the same, the internet cost is the same. So there's not going to be a lot of difference apart from the rent. This is what I have observed. There may be like parking charges that is in the cities, but they don't have it in tiny little towns. That's a different story, but altogether, overall, the main difference is the rent. That is my observation. So we are going to the in this video, what I'm going to tell is the average of the living cost that I have observed in these cities. I haven't added Valencia, but Valencia is one of the pretty popular city among expats. I haven't experienced living there. I visited for a day, and that is it. But I don't know in detail about the living cost in Valencia. But I know by hand because a lot of other Indians, a lot of expats that I talk to who live in Valencia, they also say it is almost the same. So let's take a deep dive in detail. And before I get into the list of living cost, I will just share what I feel is very important because the lifestyle when you live in a new country really matters because you say you're here for a new job, you're here for starting up a new life, and the initial first 1 or 2 years, or of course 2, 3 years, will be very overwhelming. You know, you're getting to learn the new language, you're getting to meet new people, and on the other hand, you're also working. You're also working. So there are going to be chances of you don't have time for cooking, or you might be enjoying food. You might be, exploring a lot of cuisines in Madrid, which is quite famous, all, not just Madrid, in all of Spain. You want to explore the Spanish cuisine. You enjoy eating outside. Like in Valencia, people eat paella, like I put in the picture here. So the lifestyle really matters There are a lot of festivals all around Spain, all around the year, starting from January to February. There is Fallas in Valencia, and I think I should make a different podcast only for the festivals in Spain. That's a different topic. But here, I just wanted to highlight the fact that lifestyle really matters because if you eat outside, I made a spelling mistake. Eating is wrong, but eating outside really matters because if you can cook for a meal in house, you're not going to spend more than 5 to 10 euros. The groceries you can reduce it even more. But if you eat outside, easily the dining cost would go about 10 to 15 euros. Very basic stuff. And if you're like really enjoying like different sort of cuisines in a really top-notch restaurant, you might even hit 40 to 50 euros. So eating outside really matters. And how much time do you eat outside in a week or in a month? That really matters. And cooking at home can save a lot of your pocket money. And tourism, of course. There's a lot of places to visit in Spain. So people come here, live, and they also want to explore. And why tourism really matters is, let's say you're traveling from Madrid to Barcelona, or you're traveling from Barcelona to other cities like Galicia or different places. You might want to find new accommodation. You're going to find the places for residing and for cooking, everything. Airbnb, let's say you talk about Airbnb, then it all changes the whole perspective. So that is what I mean. The video is not going to talk about the festivals or going for tourism, all that. We're going to dive in detail only about on the average cost of living. Yeah. Okay. So here's the video that the main idea of this video. We're going to see the basics first, the monthly average of the living cost in Spain. Let's take a look at it one by one. Renting, that's the housing part. This is 1,200 by default. It can range between 900 to 1,500 for a basic one-bedroom house to a two-bedroom or three-bedroom houses. And also the region matters. If you come to north of Madrid, or this is like in any other city where there is a more safety, where there is more convenience, the cost of living cost or the rent house increases. On the other hand, if you go out little outside of the city, then you get little more less than what it is in the average. So it's up to you. If you find a really good place that has the school, the transportation, the area is perfect, and they have surveillance 24 by 7, then the cost goes up. That's the rent, but easily you can find a good house from 900 to 1,200 in a good place in Madrid or Barcelona or any basic city. Then comes the transportation. This is public transportation in specific. Transportation in Spain is really less when you compare with the other cities or other countries in all of Europe. So you can see it's about 50 euros. That is really good. Wi-Fi and internet, for example, in my house, we use DG, and that comes for 30 euros. Really good, serves the job. And then comes the water and gas and electricity. Altogether comes up to 100 euros. And this is a really good topic because the gas and electricity is going to be managed based upon the weather as well. In winter, you get to use more gas, more the calefacción, the radiator for heating. All that matters. And in winter, you might hit like 100 to 150, but normally in summer, last week I paid about 40 euros. So I'm not using air conditioner, and that also matters a lot. Gas, yeah, the groceries now. Groceries comes up to 200 euros for any basic family. This is for a month, 200 to 300. This is the average of groceries. And any shop you purchase, it's going to be the same. And for me, I personally feel Mercadona is a little bit costlier than the uh, the other ones that are here. Like Lidl is quite cheap and they have a lot of promotions all the time. Aldi is good, and I'm recently exploring Alcampo, and I find it good. And it totally depends on what kind of purchaser you are. For example, somebody can buy a lot of vegetables and fruits, and somebody will buy a lot of rice or bread or things like that. The staple foods are usually less nominal. That's what I felt about because in Spain, staple is pan, the bread, and they have a lot of other staple foods, pastas. These all are going to reduce your grocery bills. And I hope I got the grocery spelling right. Okay. Then comes the health insurance. It's now this topic is very important because health insurance is two different stuff. You have the private insurance and the public insurance. So public insurance, it's going to be free for you, and there is no that's something that you're shelling out of your pocket because then you have your SSN, that is your social security. You have a public card. You're not paying any kind of insurance. On the other hand, is your private insurance. Let's take a moment to talk about that in detail. There are a lot of private insurance providers. For example, Mafre, or let's take any other example for private insurance. They have based on your needs. So it starts from 75 to 50 euros. This is an average that it's 50 euros per person, not for a family. And then comes the schooling. Again, schooling depends. Why I mentioned depends is because the public schooling is free for everybody, and they do teach in Spanish most of the times. And you also have semi-private or bilingual schools. Even bilingual schools are private and public, but it depends where you want to put your student or your kids. So the public ones are free. You're not going to pay anything, but there are going to be other stuff you're going to buy for pencil and stationery items, books and notebook. That you can say about 50 to 100 euros. On the other hand, the private school is something that I want to talk in detail because I have a friend whose kids are studying in an American school or British school. They they spend about 900 euros per month only for the kids' tuition fees. So this makes a lot of difference. And the school is completely in English, and it really matters where you want your kid to grow, or what kind of environment you want to provide to your kid. So that topic is a very big topic. We need to focus on that in a different podcast only about schooling in Madrid or in Spain in general. So this is the basic. Now, if you sum up all together, it comes about 1,600 to 1,800. This is going to be the monthly average for anybody living in Spain. And the next topic is where we're going to touch about the daily stuff. And you sometimes go out, go for a coffee, you hang out with your friends, how much is going to be for a beer or a meal. This is also depends, but this is the average again. For a beer, you can get it in a China shop for 2 euros, or in Mercadona also you get it for 1 euro, little pints for 1 euros. And you also have, shops where you can sit and have a chat and have a beer. There it's gonna be about 3 to 5 euros, and coffee again 2 to 5. Per meal, it's about 10 to 15 euros if you eat a proper Spanish meal. Then comes the Uber. This is something that I would like to talk about because Uber is not that costly when you compare with the other cities, and also matters which timing because in the night it's usually higher. And I've also heard that in Apple the cost is higher, the Uber charges. I don't know if that is really, really true, but if you're using Apple, don't use Uber or Ola. Okay, so that is the end of this video. We talked a lot about the life in Spain, about the basics lifestyle, and the living cost in Spain. I hope you had a detailed understanding of the living cost in Spain. I hope you understand the living cost is totally depends upon various factors, specifically the lifestyle that you prefer. And I hope you had a detailed understanding of the monthly average cost. And I wish you a fantastic day. And here in Spain, in Madrid today, we have 38 degree and I'm literally boiling. We don't have air conditioner in my house. Poor me. Someday I'm gonna get an air conditioner. Well, have a good day. Take care.
Welcome to Krizcast Nomad Life. Welcome to Krizcast Nomad Life.